how would you like to eliminate any self-doubt and also decrease the amount of emotional reactivity you have in your business? Well, you should want to do that. You can do that. Today, Paul's going to show you exactly how. Stay tuned. This episode of Keeping It Real is brought to you by Real Geeks. How many homes are you going to sell this year? Do you have the right tools? Is your website turning soft leads into interested buyers? Are you spending money on leads that aren't converting? Well, Real Geeks is your solution. Find out why agents across the country choose Real Geeks as their technology partner. Real Geeks was created by an agent for agents. They pride themselves on delivering a sales and marketing solution so that you can easily generate more business. Their agent websites are fast and built for lead conversion with a smooth search experience for your visitors. Real Geeks also includes an easy-to-use agent CRM. So once a lead signs up on your website, you can track their interest and have great follow-up conversations. Real Geeks is loaded with a ton of marketing tools to nurture your leads and increase brand awareness. Visit realgeeks.com/keepingitrealpod and find out why realtors come to Real Geeks to generate more business. Again, visit realgeeks.com/keepingitrealpod. And now, onto our show. Today's episode is brought to you by Corded.io. Are you looking for agents to join your brokerage or team? Now, as a real estate recruiter, I can tell you the answer is always yes. But most agents aren't looking to move right now. So how do you know who to contact? Well, what if I were to tell you there's a recruiting and retention tool powered by artificial intelligence that shows you exactly which agents in your local market are looking to leave their brokerage right now, and which agents at your own firm are also looking to leave you? Now, I've been recruiting realtors for 15 years and I've hired over 2,000 agents. I can tell you with no exaggeration, this is the tool I've been waiting for. Corded's AI looks for trends across dozens of variables for each agent in your market and shows you which agents they believe are likely to move. Not only does it do that, but Corded's AI went and visited my recruiting website and read everything I offer. So now when I'm recruiting, Corded's AI tells me exactly what to say based on that agent's needs and what my brokerage can offer. It even writes emails for me. I've never seen anything like it, and I use it every single day. Now, if you are looking to grow your brokerage, Corded.io is the best tool out there. Visit Corded.io to schedule a demo. Again, that's Corded.io. And now, onto the show.
95% of what you do every single day is influenced by your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is home to your beliefs, your emotions, your habits, and your memories. Today, we're going to focus on our conversation on your subconscious mind, specifically the beliefs and memories you hold, the beliefs, the behaviors, the habits you have as a result of your memories, the emotional charge attached to your past experiences. Because as you'll learn in the next 30 to 40 minutes, all of your intangibles, all of the challenges and obstacles you face are a byproduct of your beliefs and your memories, which facilitate a collection of learned behaviors designed to keep you safe, playing small, stuck in a pattern of comfortability, predictability, and familiarity. And as we move into and through today's conversation, we're going to talk about the why and the how you've come into a collection of these learned behaviors that are keeping you stuck, and ultimately shift our focus to talking about the most effective, fastest way to upgrade your beliefs and unlearn the patterns of thinking, feeling, and behaving that are holding you back. Welcome back to another episode of the inner game of real estate success, the show within the show of the Keeping It Real podcast that gives you the tools to master your mind, close with confidence, and thrive in both business and life. My name is Paul Salter. I am your host of these monthly episodes. I'm a mindset and performance coach, and I use hypnosis to help my clients get out of their own way by dismantling the destructive patterns of thinking, feeling, believing, and behaving that keep them stuck. And on the last Thursday of every single month, we have this conversation here, the inner game of real estate success, empowering you with the shifts, the reframes, and the upgrades you need to get unstuck, out of your own way, and to live, be, and achieve your potential. Today, we're digging into the mind, your memories, your subconscious, and we'll ultimately pivot into talking about just how powerful hypnosis is, and of course, beginning with what it is not, what it is, how it works, and ultimately sharing a little bit more about how I leverage the power of hypnosis to help my clients thrive and achieve their potential. But our conversation first begins with your subconscious mind. And the best way to think about the difference between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind is to picture an iceberg. When you look at an iceberg, the tip you see above the surface is estimated to be about 10% of the entire iceberg structure. And we can liken the tip of the iceberg to your conscious mind. It's what you're deliberately aware of. It's where thought, awareness, the present moment reside. Similarly, beneath the surface, in this case, the surface of conscious awareness, is the vast majority of your mind. It's your subconscious, home to your memories, your past experiences, which give birth to your beliefs, your emotion, and the set of accompanying behaviors and habits you have that ultimately influence your results, your reality, and shape your identity. And what's really important to recognize here is that as you go through life and you accumulate one experience after the next, every experience in your mind is a data point. And your mind extracts information from this experience and begins to form stories, begins to cultivate beliefs. Remember, a belief is nothing more than a lens through which you see the world, yourself, and others, and it acts as a filter through which you make decisions and take actions. So as you go through these experiences, memories are created. There's an emotional charge of varying intensities and different emotions, of course, attached to these previously lived experiences. And all of these continue to gradually build to produce beliefs and behaviors. These beliefs and behaviors at their core are designed to keep you safe. And what I really need you to hear is that you are programmed to survive. You are not programmed to thrive. Yet here you are listening to a personal development podcast in the real estate space because you're trying to thrive. You're committed to thrive. Or maybe you're already thriving, but it feels exhausting, challenging, and you question if it's sustainable. Are you capable of thriving at the next level? And I'm here to tell you candidly, it's an uphill battle. Because yes, you're hardwired, programmed to survive. And that's because you, me, as human beings, we are a community-centric species, wired to belong. And thousands of years ago, when our ancestors were kicked out of our respective tribe or community, when they were rejected, judged, and ultimately abandoned, well, it was pretty much a death sentence by starvation or that saber-toothed tiger lurking around the corner. Fast forward all of these thousands of years, we still have that same deep biological need to belong because it was how and continues to be how our species survived all of these centuries. The problem, however, is that as we are going through particularly the early first few years of life, and we have our tribe that we don't get to choose, well, impressed upon us from our immediate tribe, our parents, our siblings, our family, our neighbors, our community, in addition to entertainment sources, and our experience otherwise, a collection of information is repeatedly pressed upon us. A collection of emotional experiences becomes our default norm. And as a result, researchers estimate that by the age of 7, 95% of our belief system is formed. Let me give you a couple examples. One of the easiest ones that is coming up often in a lot of the clients I work with, and maybe you relate to, is we talk about the scarcity mindset versus the abundant mindset as it comes to money. And if you grew up in a household where every penny was pinched, there was barely enough just to meet basic needs, never enough to get what you want, rich people are jerks, those who are wealthy are assholes. Well, guess what? You learned that this constant background noise of anxiety, fear, anger, resentment around money was the norm. You didn't choose to experience it as a 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old, but your parents, your immediate environment, that was their everyday experience. So as a natural byproduct, you absorbed that too. And now your emotional home, your core foundational emotions that your subconscious craves for the point of having safety, predictability, and familiarity may be rooted in lack, anxiety, worry, fear, scarcity, fear of loss, risk aversion. So you go throughout life repeating patterns to help you get your fix of lack, anxiety, scarcity around money. Because again, it's familiar. It's a pattern that's predictable, comfortable, and therefore safe. And your subconscious mind has one overarching primary objective: keeping you safe. So it's an uphill battle, to say the least. And I'm building a big foundation for us because we're going to go a different direction in a moment. But with that said, your beliefs, I alluded to it earlier, they're filters, they're lenses through which you see the world. Your belief about yourself: are you worthy, deserving, and capable? Your belief about others: are they likable? Are they trustworthy? Your belief about life: is it fair or unfair? Is it happening to you or for you? The manifestation or byproduct of these beliefs begins to show up in the words you use to speak to and about yourself, your thoughts. They then begin to show up in your actions or your consistent inactions. These over time repeatedly executed become your habits. And all of a sudden we've got this downstream domino effect of your beliefs, which you're not responsible for, though you're the only one who can do something about them. And we'll come back to that later. Your beliefs influence your words, which influence your habits, which influence your results, which shape your identity. So many of you are trying to wheel and deal, go, outwork, hustle, and muscle through to get to that next level. And I'm here to tell you there's a far more effective and efficient way. And it requires, candidly, some uncomfortable work that challenges, threatens your identity, your ego, your sense of normalcy, if you will, the only way you've ever known to do and be. Yet if you're willing to pause, look inward, and approach this problem that you're trying to solve to get to the next level, there's an opportunity to do different, to be different, so you can both achieve and experience different. And I want to dig into that more. So there's this really cool concept. The scientific community term for it is memory reconsolidation. And the big premise here is that memory reconsolidation is the process of rewiring the emotional association tied to a memory so it no longer sabotages your present performance. Remember, I shared earlier, every experience you accumulate throughout your life, your subconscious views it as a data point. It takes the pertinent information and begins to filter out information the more and more you have experiences to continue to validate and reinforce the beliefs that have been constructed. And the reason that's noteworthy is because as you go throughout life and you have these experiences through your particular lenses, you further strengthen those beliefs first and foremost. It cuts off your ability to see differing or other perspectives or frames of mind, and it's limiting. And until you look inward to uncover the when, the why, the how you came to possess these beliefs, how, at one point in time, they served you, they helped you, they protected you, you're not going to be able to actually make any meaningful, significant, sustainable change in your income, your happiness, your confidence, your health, your wealth, your well-being, or success. However, memory reconsolidation is our opportunity. It's our golden ticket. So this process, and I'm going to break it down more simplistically in a moment. We don't erase your memories, of course, but when you begin to look inward to edit the emotional charge attached to these memories so that it stops hijacking you at the exact moments you need to be calm, clear, and decisive, suddenly you reclaim your power. And that power reclamation process is taking back energy. The emotional charge that was once attached to that memory is taken back as energy. That energy can then be used to A, let go of any beliefs that were formed, and B, most importantly, to build new beliefs and the accompanying set of complementary behaviors you need to step into that next best version of you. So here's the framework, and here's the powerful, analogy. Your brain saves and files memories like a Microsoft Word document. Memories aren't like a tattoo. They're not permanent. And although yes, we can get rid of tattoos, the process of memory reconsolidation and updating a memory is not nearly as painful as what I've heard to be an excruciatingly painful process of getting a tattoo removed. So the analogy I want to share with you is that your memories are like a Microsoft Word document. And what I mean by that is every time, again, you have an experience in life, think of it as your mind writing a quick synopsis, some more detailed and intensive than the others, in a Microsoft Word document, and then saving that file, stuffing it down into your subconscious. And when an event or moment or circumstance triggers a need to retrieve that file, your subconscious suddenly brings it top of mind, reviews, okay, from this experience that sounds similar to the one we relived 25 years ago, we learned we need to behave in this way so that X, Y, and Z can be accomplished. Let me share a very common example. You're someone that when somebody provides you a critical piece of feedback, you are triggered. You suddenly find yourself on edge, agitated, defensive, maybe even an urge to lash out, to attack. An injustice has occurred. You feel personally attacked. You've taken something personally, even if a third party didn't interpret it that way, and the specific person you feel triggered by had no ill intention whatsoever. What's taking place there is at light speed, your mind is going back to that moment at 9 years old when you were bullied on the playground and you felt attacked. And the only way you knew to protect yourself and to stand up for yourself was to verbally lash out, maybe physically even lash out. That same 9-year-old boy or girl and his or her accompanying patterns of safety and protection still lives in you today. And when triggered, it comes to the surface and it plays out. And this happens not just with anger. This happens with perfectionism, procrastination, when self-doubt takes a seat in your driver's seat and hijacks the steering wheel. Every time this is occurring, your mind is accessing all of these old files, these memories, to see when this situation happened previously, you protected yourself or you kept yourself safe by doing X, Y, and Z. And yes, they served you at that time, but you're not 9 years old anymore. You don't have an immature emotional regulation ability. You don't have an immature nervous system. You're an adult. You're capable of managing and regulating your nervous system. You're capable of managing your emotions. But during your youth and your younger years, your adolescence, and during moments as an adult that were incredibly emotionally charged, painful, and traumatic, maybe you weren't, because some situations we experience, there's no words, tools, blueprint, or playbook for. And you're stuck in such a fight or flight triggered nervous system state for so long. Your body is doing anything and everything it can to encode safety, 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 protection, protection, protection. that a new set of accompanying beliefs and behaviors is formed. Another classic example, maybe you quit your 9 to 5, you go all in on this passion project and it doesn't work out. It fails. You go bankrupt or you have crippling debt. You feel like a nobody, a failure. Everybody judged you. You feel shame, guilt, anger, sadness, embarrassment. That's enough for a lot of people to say, I'm never going to try again. I'm only going to play it safe the rest of my life. And they live the rest of their life as a shell of themselves, playing small, operating at a fraction of their potential. Because this belief and this set of accompanying behaviors, or in this case, lack thereof, action and behavior, are byproducts, learned experiences from a traumatic event in their life that directly threaten their identity and ultimately the core of who they are. So with memory reconsolidation, and ultimately one of the fastest, most effective ways to unlearn the beliefs, feeling states, thinking, and behaviors holding you back is by capitalizing on this concept and using hypnosis. So I want to go back to this analogy because I know I got sidetracked there, but when we're opening up that file, that Microsoft Word document, every time you open that file, that past memory, that challenging experience, 8 years old, you're giving a presentation in front of your classmates and you forget your line. Everybody laughs at you, even your teacher. It's humiliating. It's embarrassing. That moment forward, you're afraid, you're anxious to speak up in front of small and large groups. You hide your voice, you play small, you don't share your honest thoughts and opinions. All of that's learned. Yet the way our memory works is when we, in a safe and supportive environment, reconnect with or open that file, we can go back and edit it. We can diffuse or drain the emotional charge that was once attached to it. We can reframe it, see it differently, provide empathy, and ultimately do the work necessary to let go of any destructive beliefs and behaviors that came as a result of said belief. As a result, you experience a positive ripple effect in real time, an abundance of energy that wasn't once available that you can now put forward to take action on what it is you already know you need to be doing to achieve your next level of success. Another example, pay attention. I'm moving a million miles an hour today. I'm feeling good. I hope you're picking up when I'm throwing down. One of my clients, phenomenal real estate agent, about to cross the 7-figure mark personally in her commissions in 2026. She's made more money every single year for going on 10 years, if I recall correctly. She's crushing it. Yet she, like you, like me, and this happens at every single fucking level of success, financially, health-wise, and otherwise. There are destructive ways of thinking, being, and feeling that lead to feelings of imposter syndrome, questioning our worthiness and our enoughness to sustain or even achieve next level success. And for this particular client, she was born to 2 immigrant parents who busted their ass when they moved to the States on the promise that they would provide a much better life for their children. My client, being one of those children, watched her mom and dad work tirelessly, one sacrifice after the next, to provide a better life here in the States for her and her siblings. Guess what? My client, by direct absorption, like I alluded to in the beginning of this conversation, she absorbed that same tenacity, ambition, next to nobody can match her work ethic type of attitude and propensity to take action. And that's what has fueled her incredible success. Like I mentioned, the past 10 going on 11 years, more income, more deals, more relationships year after year. On paper, she's absolutely crushing it. Physically, however, inconsistently taking care of herself, burnt out, emotionally drained, a glass of wine before bed every night, gradually becoming 2, sometimes a bottle before bed, struggling to sleep, struggling to exercise, meditate, or care for herself regularly, constantly on edge, feeling uncomfortable, unsafe when she's not working, struggling to disconnect, struggling to detach her results from her self-worth. And as you can imagine, this is a cocktail to operate well below your potential. And that's what played out the last couple of years. Despite her success on paper, it was internal warfare, chaos, very few moments of calm, masked by moments of stress. Her nervous system always triggered on edge. And underneath it all, guess what? She didn't feel deserving or good enough for this success. Making great money, has the status, the recognition. Both her parents were immigrants who worked incredibly hard to make ends meet just to provide. And here she is with significantly more money to her name. Do I deserve it? Am I outshining my parents? That's not fair. They sacrificed so much for me, all they did for me. The guilt, the resentment, the sadness, the shame, the anger, the bitterness. On top of the entire time, wait a second. I was born to two immigrants. Who am I to make this much money, to have this impact, to build and have these relationships, to attend these events? The imposter syndrome, the enoughness. It was a pattern of destruction internally. This client struggling to keep it together until she was courageous enough to ask for help, courageous enough to look inward, to begin owning, confronting some of these destructive ways of believing, being, thinking, feeling, doing. And through the deep work we're going to begin talking about here momentarily, and a willingness to look within, let go of that wasn't serving her, even if it felt scary, different, or uncomfortable, has allowed my client to experience more harmony, more ease, more flow in her day-to-day life. Vastly improved health, self-care, well-being habits, consistent in her exercise, her meditation, her sleep, protecting her sleeps, and perhaps most importantly, finding her voice and confidently taking aligned action true to her authentic self. And that work I've been alluding to that capitalizes on this concept of memory reconsolidation is high performance hypnotherapy and mindset coaching. And I want to pivot our conversation to digging into hypnosis. And of course, for me, the best place to begin in having this conversation is making it abundantly clear what hypnosis is not. Many of you heard hypnosis, and your mind immediately went to me dangling a pocket watch in front of you, asking you to cluck like a chicken, or maybe back to some hypnosis stage show you saw at a comedy event, on a cruise ship, or maybe even your own high school graduation. That is unlike anything I do or use when working with my clients. Hypnosis is not magic. It's not brain controlled. It's not mind controlled. It's not brainwashing, excuse me. Hypnosis is a natural state of mind. Hypnosis is a safe state of mind. It's a natural, safe state of mind you have already been in today multiple times. You see, hypnosis is just a word used to describe the primary brain wave you are producing at any given moment. So right now you're highly engaged and you're listening to this conversation, and hopefully you're engaging it with your own self-talk and questions and reflection throughout. You're primarily producing what are known as beta brain waves. And after this long productive workday, you're going to go home, you're going to take a shower, and you're going to finally begin to let go and relax. Your beta brain wave production is going to come down, and you're going to begin to primarily produce alpha brain waves. And after that hot shower, you're finally going to fall asleep. And ultimately during sleep, you're going to produce what's known as delta brain waves. But there exists a sweet spot between sleep and between that slight relaxation I mentioned after that hot shower. And that state is our sweet spot, theta brain wave production. And that's the hypnotic state. It's the same state of mind you experience the moment you transition from sleeping to waking. It's the same state of mind you experience when you're caught up in a good book, podcast, your favorite TV show, or when you're deeply immersed in the flow state during a deal or on a project at work. I share all of that to clarify and reiterate just how natural this hypnotic state of mind is. Now, two significant benefits emerge when you enter this hypnotic state intentionally. Number one, the harsh inner critic, that judgmental voice you have that constantly reminds you that you're not good enough, that'll never work, you're not smart enough, you can't do this. Yeah. In hypnosis, we sidestep all of that noise and negativity. We quiet that pain in the ass. And two, we connect directly with your subconscious mind. Remember, your subconscious mind is home to your memories and therefore your beliefs, your emotions, and your habits. So by being able to connect with your subconscious mind, quiet that harsh inner critic, we begin to have an opportunity to open up some of those past files or Microsoft Word documents where some of these accompanying beliefs and destructive behaviors were first learned. And we can use hypnosis to uncover the origin of when, why, and how you learned performance anxiety, to believe you're not good enough, worthy enough, or deserving, to have learned procrastination or perfectionism. And learning the when, the how, and the why in and of itself creates a powerful opportunity for a perspective shift. More importantly, it creates an opportunity to do the unlearning, to remove the emotional charge, reclaim that energy, that power, and use it to build the new set of beliefs and accompanying behaviors you need to ascend to the next best level of you. So let's go one step further. Sounds good. You're picking up what I'm putting down. How does it really work? Well, first and foremost, we need to understand a couple benefits. So I mentioned that in hypnosis, you're primarily producing what are known as theta brainwaves. And it's in this state that you're incredibly malleable, suggestive to feedback, perspective shifts, reframing. And you heard me say in the beginning of this conversation that researchers estimate by the age of 7, 95% of your belief system is formed. Guess what? Between the ages of 0 and 7, you're primarily producing theta brainwaves. You're very malleable. That Microsoft Word document is open, ready for edits and upgrades. So hypnosis puts you into that malleable state where upgrades can be delivered on demand. And number two, we share then the concept of neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity is basically the opportunity for you to begin building new neural pathways. A neural pathway is essentially your brain's ability to communicate. When a behavior is formed, your brain craves efficiency. Your brain wants to do things as efficiently as possible to conserve energy. And the way that it does that is through habit formation. So neurons begin to fire together, they begin to wire together all throughout your brain to speed up the transmission of electrical current and ultimately make sure that some of these tasks, in this case behaviors, can be carried out more efficiently and more effectively. Well, many decades, centuries ago, the prominent belief or school of thought was that your brain was kind of hardwired. We're fixed, we're limited, we can't grow, expand. Today, we know that is not the case, and neuroplasticity is the explanation, the concept that highlights we can build new neural pathways. We can stop traveling current or pre-existing ones, and there is a better way to learn, to be, to think, to do, to grow. And the analogy I like to use for this is, let's just highlight, for example, the destructive mindset program of perfectionism. And if perfectionism is something you struggle with often, it shows up in every area of your life. The way that we could think of that neural pathway is it's like a freaking 8-lane highway. There is no issue with traffic there. It is easy breezy to travel that highway. Easy to move from point A to point B at a moment's notice to get to where you want to go, meaning that you ride or drive that neural pathway of perfectionism quite often. Well, let's say you're doing the work, you're ready, you're taking consistent action, and you have the support and accountability you need to begin letting go, of these perfectionistic tendencies. Well, the process of what's actually happening is suddenly there are some orange detour cones that are placed on that highway, and they take you literally off-roading. And for the first couple of times, you're leaning into these new behaviors. Oh, it doesn't have to be perfect before I submit that proposal, before I draft that new job position description. I'm just going to send it. Well, it's literally like using the detour cones off the highway and beginning to blaze your own trail. You're walking through tall grass, thickets, rocks, mud, and it's uncomfortable. It's much more challenging. It's far less effective and efficient. It feels different. Yet the next opportunity, you do it again. And the next time you feel a tendency and a gravitational pull towards those old perfectionistic patterns, you take it again and again. And suddenly you've blazed yourself a nice little dirt path. And the more you begin to use this path, it becomes clearer, becomes more efficient, more effective. And suddenly it's spacious enough, it's well-traveled enough where you can pave a 1-lane road, and then suddenly a 2-lane road, and so on and so forth. The more you use it, next thing you know, you've greased an entirely new 8-lane highway. The other one has crumbled. It's hard to use. You don't even remember even how to get there as much. That's neuroplasticity at its core. So again, through memory reconsolidation, neuroplasticity, and intentionally priming yourself to be in that theta brainwave state, you have an opportunity to unlearn the core beliefs, emotional states, and behaviors that are keeping you stuck, facilitating a pattern of you getting in your own way. And when you unlearn them, you can harness the energy to build the beliefs and behaviors you need to achieve your potential, to be the best version of yourself. And obviously, I'm biased. Hypnosis changed my life. I've shared that story before. Hypnosis has allowed me to have an indescribable impact on my clients' lives, professionally, personally, athletically, healthily, and everywhere in between. And if I'm correct, this is the 8th episode that I've done here as part of the inner game of real estate success here on the Keeping It Real podcast. And I want to just say thank you for listening to these episodes. It's a treat getting to tune in and connect with you every single month. I'm grateful to DJ and the team for the opportunity, the continued good faith in me to show up and provide value every single month. So thank you for listening. And as a thank you, specific to DJ and the real estate community, who candidly, some of my favorite clients are real estate agents, investors, and brokers. If you've ever been on the fence about high performance hypnotherapy and mindset coaching, if you've listened to me at least a few times here on this podcast, maybe you've even Googled me and explored some of my other work, my own podcast, the Scratch Golfers Mindset podcast, and you feel that what I share with you resonates. You hear parts of yourself, your journey in what I share, the stories of clients I share. And you're just still not 1,000% convinced. Like, this is for me. Do I need this? Spoiler alert, you do. We all do if we're truly going to be the best version of ourselves. Here's what I'm going to do for you. I'd like to gift 3 complimentary high-performance hypnotherapy coaching sessions to give you a taste of hypnosis, what a coaching experience with me is like, so that you can fully immerse yourself in and experience the benefits and the significant impact of high-performance hypnotherapy and working with me. So if you'd like to experience that, if you're truly committed, you've been curious for a while about the impact and benefit this type of coaching and work can have in your life, professionally, personally, and otherwise, this is your opportunity to have a full experience. So in the show notes, I've included a link to my coaching application. First 3 people who fill that out, I'm going to follow up with you. We'll get that gifted call on the calendar. If you're not one of the first 3 to fill it out, no sweat. I'll keep a running list of everyone who's applied. And as my bandwidth allows in the coming months, I will reach out to you. I will honor my word. Just make sure when you complete that application, you mark that you heard me here on the Keeping It Real podcast. That way I know, so I can give back to you as a dear listener. With that said, That's the show. That's the conversation. A lot to chew on. And my hope is that you truly understand through the examples, frameworks, and analogies I shared with you today, you have an opportunity to unlearn what you feel, know, and believe is holding you back. Fed up with your behaviors, frustrated by your beliefs and your self-talk. All of it is unlearnable and upgradable. And I welcome that opportunity to support you and helping you become the best version of yourself, getting unstuck and out of your own way so you can achieve your potential. Well, thank you again for listening to the inner game of real estate success. If today's episode helped shift your mindset or gave you a new perspective, I'd love for you to share it with another realtor, investor, or broker who's ready to grow. And like I mentioned, if you're ready to go deeper and eliminate what's holding you back once and for all, use the link in the show notes to get on my waiting list or to schedule that gifted session as a thank you for being a listener here on the Keeping It Real podcast, the inner game of real estate success. Until next time, keep showing up, stay grounded, and remember, your greatest edge is the one between your ears.